I have to go to Walmart and pick up chicken for the dogs. And while I'm going to Walmart, I want to talk about puppies barking and whining, because it's probably something that you're going to experience. Now, right off the bat, some dogs are more vocal than others. This is a fact. My dog Ike, my lab, he's relatively quiet. It's the truth. He's always been sort of quiet. He doesn't usually bark. He barked when I brought the puppy in. He looked at him and let out a real deep bark, with his tail wagging, all like, yeah, it's a puppy. And then like Tonka, my bird dog, my GSP, he's very vocal, and I knew when I got him that he was gonna be vocal. And the way that I knew this was that I looked for about 6 months to get a GSP, and I wanted a specific kind of dog. I wanted one that was really tireless. You know, I don't need that. I could have gone with like a GSP that was like more bred to be a house dog, but I got a dog that would be appropriate for like a guide, a professional guide. Tonka does not get tired, and the thing that I didn't consider when I got Tonka was how vocal are the parents, right? Is he coming from a line of dogs that's real vocal? And as soon as I pulled up to the breeder was a veterinarian in Georgia, and he had about 45 dogs there, and all of them were real vocal. The first thing I was like, oh shit, I forgot to, you know, ask him if his dogs are vocal, because Tonka is vocal and so are Tonka's parents. So it's just one of those things. I got Tonka and I'm still using a bark collar with him. At times he can be very quiet, but we still use a bark collar, and I'll probably use a bark collar for a few more years too. So you want to keep the dog as quiet as possible, because that becomes their general behavior. But some dogs are real vocal, and when they get excited, that energy has to go somewhere. It will come out as a bark. Okay? So know that like some dogs, they're going to be more vocal than other dogs, and you're going to have to do things. Now puppies, most puppies are going to make a lot of sound, and they're going to whine and do all kinds of stuff. They're, you know, a variety of sounds. They might bark. I heard Charlie the puppy barking this morning. I looked over and saw that Charlie was looking out the window barking at something, and that's what kind of bark it was. It was like he saw something and he wanted to, you know, I'm a dog and I'm here. Don't, you know. So it's important that you know that you do have to tell the dog not to bark, right? Don't be passive about this. If your dog's barking, you should really, you have to like respond and tell the dog no. But with puppies, there is going to be a certain amount of whining and barking that's going to be unavoidable, but you want to minimize this. Now, I've minimized it with housebreaking the puppy by, first of all, I didn't just put it in a pen or a crate and sleep away from it. The first few days, I slept right beside the puppy, and the reason why I did this was that if the puppy got up, I grabbed the puppy and take it outside. Now I have a puppy that I haven't even had for a week, and it already is understanding that it wants to go to the bathroom outside. So, you know, I slept on the floor with the puppy. And then I think on the third day, I slept with the floor on the puppy, but the puppy was in the crate. Do you understand? So the puppy's in the crate, but it's right by me. So if it did make some noise, I'd go like that on top of the crate. That creates a pressure wave, and I'd do that by saying no. Now you can do that with any age dog. If they're going on and on, you can rap on top of the crate by saying no. This is the first time that the puppy's sort of experiencing that word no. We're not doing any heavy negative pressure with the dog or anything like that, but we want you can hear him. He wants to come out and sit on my lap because Remy's sitting on my lap. So you could do that and tell the dog no. So that was very effective with this dog. Now, we came up to my house, and last night I slept with the puppy in the crate, but I created more distance from the puppy. So instead of the puppy sleeping with the crate right by my face, this time I slept on the couch, and the puppy's on the floor, and I'm about 5 or 6 feet away. There was some sounds, but he was pretty good last night, and he made some sounds when he woke up at around 3 or 4. I grabbed him and took him outside. We got success. We're having great success on housebreaking. A lot of success with this puppy. He's really picking it up. But the whole barking thing can be really annoying, and it can be taxing on you if you have a job and everything and the puppy's keeping you awake. So I'm creating this distance over a period of time, making sure that the dog, you know, sort of gets habituated, gets used to the fact that at times I have to not be around him. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm doing my stuff with the other dogs. The dog's in the crate, and I'm going in and out of the house, going to the backyard. And while I'm doing that, sometimes the puppy's making noise. So I'll tell the puppy no, right? If he's making noise, no. I continue with that and keep telling the puppy to be quiet. But I'm using this like coming in and out, so that in short periods of time, so that the dog gets used to these short periods of time without seeing me. Do you understand? Like we teach the dog to be used to get used to not being around us. That's very important. I can't be around the dog 24/7, and we don't want to be around the dog 24/7. Now, I have the dog with me. We're going to Walmart. But the whole barking thing, you have to get the dog used to you not responding to its whining. If it's whining, don't pick it up. Don't give it anything. If it's barking, don't give it anything. You can give it some negativity by saying no or rapping on the crate, but you don't want to encourage the barking and whining behavior. Your dog may be more vocal than other dogs. That's a fact. But with time, like Tonka has gotten so much more chill. Well, he'll never be chill. Tonka will never be chill, but he's quiet. And if the bark collar's on him, he's gonna be quiet. He knows that the bark collar's on him. Puppies, you can't use bark collars. This is just part of being a puppy. They're gonna make some noise, and you wanna keep telling this dog to, you know, don't tell me what you want, puppy. I give you everything. That's the point, is that you should be giving the puppy everything, right? So the puppy doesn't need to be whining for it. If the puppy's whining for food, he's gonna eat in 15 minutes or an hour. Do you understand what I'm saying? Don't feed the dog when it whines. Wait until the dog's chill. If you see the dog in the crate being totally chill, even asleep, go feed the puppy. Don't pick the dog up if it's whining or barking. Don't feed the dog when it's whining or barking. And for God's sakes, don't give the dog any treats of any kind. They don't need treats. You run the risk of giving the dog diarrhea, and you also run the risk of inappropriately giving the dog positive reinforcement. So that's the problem, is people excite the dog when they have the treat in their hand, and then they condition that excitement in the dog when they give the dog the treat. I hope this makes sense. Don't, like, you hear him right now? I'm not gonna like give him anything when he's doing that. He wants to come out and sit on my lap. He's not sitting on my lap. If it's bothering you so much, the puppy's noise, I have to question, like, well, why did you get the dog? Dogs make noises, birds make noises. Don't get a cockatoo because it's pretty. Understand that the cockatoo can bite you and it's gonna be loud. If you know what I'm saying? Like, cats are quiet, but cats need training too. Give the dog, you know, people have problems with the dog. And then they get rid of the dog and they say that they gave the dog everything. Yeah, you gave the dog everything, but what the dog needed. You know? You have to tell the dog no, and you have to teach the dog when it's doing something improper. So don't encourage barking. Don't encourage whining. If you have a vocal dog, keep pressure on. You know, it might be a couple years. It might be years. You might get Tonka. And it might be years that you have to keep telling the dog to shut up. You might have to use bark collars. That's just how it is. And over time, they get less and less loud. And that's a fact. But you have to stay consistent. Consistency pays off, and build on success. Get the dog accustomed to not being around you. Remember, when you bring that puppy home, if you bring home a 7-week-old puppy, you just took it away from the litter, which that's the appropriate time to take the dog away from the litter. 7, 8 weeks, 9 weeks. Get it away from that litter. But since it's away from that litter, it's not sleeping next to another dog. It might start whining and shit. That's why for a couple days I sleep next to the dog, because I got to get sleep. I got to get in that rhythm. I got to get that psychic energy going, knowing when the dog's going to go to the bathroom. And then on the third day, I can start putting it in the crate. This is with a caveat. I'm crate training the puppy. But if you can't be there to let the dog out, if you're doing this on your own, I'm a professional. I'm getting paid to work with the dog. So it's 24/7. I'm getting paid 24/7 to train this dog. If you have to go to work, you have to go anywhere, and you can't take that dog with you, don't let it shit in the crate, because that'll screw up crate training. You're going to want to use a big pen. It's not easy. It's not easy getting dogs trained. 4 million dogs are dying every year because of people having unrealistic expectations. They meet a dog that seems, you know, they don't really know the dog, but they're like, oh, I'm going to get a dog. That seems like it's easy on the owner. You don't know what the owner had to go through to get the dog trained, and you don't know how that dog responds when you're not around it. You've never seen the dog throw a fit. Puppies throw fits. Don't be unrealistic. Your puppy's going to make noise. Just don't train these noises in. You want to start training them out of the dog. Now we're headed to the vet to drop off the puppy's shot record so that we can figure out when the puppy needs to get his next set of shots. You know, it's always a sigh of relief once the dog gets all his shots. It is, and until then I'm a little freaked out and worried, and I'm very cautious about where the puppy is gonna stand. You know, just use common sense, man. So much about a dog is common sense, you know, but don't put it in terms of like in an anthropomorphic way. So if you I had this idiot once. This is concerning a dog that I own now. Well, I love the dog. The dog got dumped on me. I thought it was gonna get dumped during the board and train. Obvious, you know. I thought the dog was gonna get dumped during the board and train. It was obvious that they really weren't into the dog. And I remember one of the things that she said, the woman, not the guy, said, they were both idiots as far as dogs go. I've raised a child, I can raise a dog. Oh, you think so? You think that raising a kid is like a dog? And the thing that really gets me is that I found out the kid doesn't live with her. You know? Oh, you raise the kid, but the kid doesn't live with you. It lives with the husband that you're divorced from. So you weren't good with the kid. Why do you think you'd be good with the dog? I'm not saying that a person that has raised children can't raise a dog. Certainly there would be some things like consistency, stuff like that would be similar. But to think that you raised a kid, in this case she didn't even raise the kid. You know, the kid was taken away from her. Or not taken away from her, you know, in court. It was decided that the kid should live with the dad. Okay, so I went into the vet's office. I was in there for maybe 5-10 minutes, something like that tops, and I came back and he was sleeping. That's what you want to see. You want to see slow progress with the puppy. It's not as fast with the puppy, but it's well worth it if you want to have a trained dog. Get them when they're young, influence them when they're young. With an older dog, we can do, you know, in 30-day period, I can get all obedience commands going, kind of evict some problems, get the dog going in the correct direction. But with a puppy, it takes longer. Just be consistent, you know, just start looking for positive things. And, you know, the puppies are great. Puppies are awesome. But just don't put pressure on the puppy, you know, time enough. It will happen soon enough that will put pressure on the puppy and make the puppy be compliant. But right now, it's all about just using common sense, making sure that the dog gets used to small periods of time when you're not around. So I just went to Dandy in the Dandy Mart to get some Red Bull. This is my favorite flavor. It's awesome. And the puppy was quiet again. We're building on success. How I know that the puppy was quiet was I left the passenger window a little rolled down, and then when I came out of Dandy, I went to the window and I didn't hear any noise, any whining or anything. I got to the passenger window and I looked in and I saw that Charlie was crashed still. You know, he's not freaked out that I'm leaving. That's what you want to see. Build on success. Do it in short doses. Give the dog these short periods of time where you're not around the dog, and, you know, start making them longer and longer and longer. Build your dog up to this. Don't just, I'm going away and leave the dog. You know, if you have something to go do, yes, do that. But this is important that you understand. Don't leave the puppy in a crate for any length of period that you know that you can't get back, and the dog might go to the bathroom. If you know that the dog will hold it for an hour, then that's the period of time that you have to be away from the puppy. 1 hour. And that could very possibly be the period of time. Charlie will hold it longer than an hour. He'll hold it for 2, 4 hours driving up here. We kept him in that like 3-hour period. So I know sort of how long Charlie will hold it. No whining, no nothing. When you get your puppy, you're going to want to start using a leash with it like right away. The leash is very important. Get a leather leash. Your dog isn't allowed to chew on it. And also get a very cheap leash made out of nylon. You will not use that for walking or training the dog. That's just to get the puppy used to the leash. So you put the leash on the dog and have the dog drag the leash around the house.